Okay. Previous class we were talking about sample Maven pipeline. So if you go to configuration, usually presently which we are using is a declarative pipeline. Okay. The declarative pipeline mainly it starts with the pipeline. Okay. Any here pipeline curly braces open in last curly braces close. So this the pipeline, then generally they are asking what is the main difference between the declarative pipeline and scripted pipeline. Usually nowadays no one is using scripted pipeline. Okay, that is a old kind of pipeline. But the difference is scripted pipeline is here it will start with like node. So instead of pipeline here start with the node, but here declarative pipeline it will start with the pipeline. Okay. Here agent any means where we are running our job, either maybe any particular slave or agent any means it is running any whatever the slave or master which one is free it is running. Specifically if you want to mention, then here we need to mention like for example Docker or Docker hyphen dev something like that. We need to mention particular slave label. So here we have a stages. In stages we have a stage. Okay, I think so. Here the stages again. Here curly braces is started. The curly braces end. Okay. Then in this we have a stage. Here this stage like line number 5 to this line number 10. That stage is helpful to download the code from this Hanumantrao 19 Docker Maven image Git. So it will download the code. After that, here the stage Maven build means it will execute this. SH means it run this MVN compile command. What this MVN compile will do is it compile the Maven code. So, but previous class we got some error in this. Okay. So now again I will try to run. Then same error we are getting. Why I am getting same error? I will tell you. Okay.
For running, we need to build
Hmm.
now.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean that. Yes, you have to build. I thought we build.
Yeah, for me also it failed. Repository error. There is some repository error.
Maybe it's not repository. Your case, if you are getting like that, just you need to follow this one. Yeah, as it is, I think I have mentioned this one for you. So then you need to get like this Maven build this git have you is it success this stage git clone stage?
Yeah, let me go there. Which section did you click here? Click so that it is
Yeah,
showing
git clone is
console
it
out.
working for you?
For me, it's working.
Okay. Git clone Maven build we need to fail.
Yeah, that got filled.
So if I click on status,
Now just color it will shows like success and Maven build is fail. Git clone should be
yeah,
success.
yeah, Git clone is good, but Maven
Okay.
build
Yeah.
is failed.
Yeah, here what is the problem is here, for example, if you go to the configure session, here this MVN doesn't installed. Okay, it will shows like in the same thing in our logs also. For example, it will show MVN command is not found. So here mvn command is not found. What is the causes mvn? We didn't install like maven in this. Okay, we need to install maven. So how we need to install is just we can do as it is. So go to manage Jenkins. In manage Jenkins, we go to tool section. Okay, tools. Click on tools.
Yeah.
Come down. Here in Maven, we need to install the Maven. Here, I think so. We have previously installed this one, Maven -3.9. Just you can mention here any version. Install from Apache 3.9.4 or 3.9.6. What is the latest? And you can click on this symbol. Then here you need to mention any name like Maven -3.9.4 or whatever you want, you can keep here.
I did it. I have it.
Now, previously you have did that one. So now
Yeah.
we can save here, whatever the name here we are using, that name only we need to take and use it. So save, then you can go to again config the job. Here we need to mention in tool section, we have to write like in tools, curly braces open, close. Here we need to mention Maven. Within single quotes, you have to mention that name. Tools, Maven, this one. Just in, if you go to official document, tools in Jenkins.
Yeah, this time it is successful.
Now here, the tools, same Maven. Then within this one, we have to mention whatever we have installed previously, like Apache Maven. In our case, we have mentioned simply MVN-3.0.9, but no need to. This name is whatever we have used in backend installation. The same name we have to use it here. So now we can build it. This you can build this one.
This time it ran successfully.
Yes, yes. Here, what it will happen is it download the all dependencies. It download from the central library, central repository. Central repositories means like repo, Maven, Apache. That is the official central repository. It will download the all required dependencies. First time these many dependencies will download. Once the next time it doesn't download these dependencies. So now if you observe this issue guidance, some jars, all dependence jars will be downloaded. Where these all dependencies will be stored, I will tell you. So next time it doesn't download from the central repo. It will taken from the our local repo, local Jenkins itself. So this all will be stored in the .m2 folder. I will tell you that where it will store you. First time itself, then whatever the any new jars are there, that will download it from the central repo. So usually these jars will be downloaded from repo.maven Apache, or otherwise some jars will be downloaded if in financial organization that jars are stored in from there. It's coming from some other Nexus repository or something like that. If it is restricted, there some jars are not downloaded from the repo, then it will be keeping their jars into their some one repository or Nexus any repository. From there, it will download it. So here, this all it takes so much time. So much time means so many files it will download it. These all are jars. If you observe, so many jars are downloaded. So these are Maven shared utilities, Maven PLX compiler, and as well as here all the compiler manager. This what based on what it will download is means in pom.xml we have mentioned these jars are required. Means for example, one jar is required if you have mentioned in pom.xml. If you observe in our 19 Maven, if you observe. In pom.xml, if you mention here the Maven install plugin, Maven jar plugin, Maven Surefire plugin, Maven compiler plugin, these are all plugins downloaded from the central repository. Central repository means official Apache website. If you observe, these all dependencies plugin will be downloaded. It is one-time activity. So once we download it, it will store the backend. Okay. So where it will store, I will show you. Then we can go log in with this Jenkins server. If you want, you just you can log in, otherwise no need. Okay, then now here we are logged into the server. Here, varlib Jenkins. Go to the varlib Jenkins. In varlib Jenkins, again you can go to I think so here varlib Jenkins .m2 folder in plugins or workspace. In workspace, some .2 folder, then you can go to now here Jenkins. What is our pipeline? Maven pipeline. Okay. ls-lart.m2 folder we need to get here. Compare it on the .m2 folder. ls-lart. No, then yeah, I think so. I will show you again. ls-lart.m. If you observe here, .m2 folder, where it is there, varlib Jenkins. Varlib Jenkins is that is the home directory. Maybe in real time, if you want to store this varlib Jenkins folder, then maybe it is also stored in separately mounted also. Varlib Jenkins means to store the backend in a EBS volume or anything. They store the. But here, whenever even destroy the Jenkins or restart the Jenkins, whatever the data, all data will be stored in the backend in on persistent volume. means persistent volume or any EBS volume. So that concept will come into the when we are talked about the EBS volumes in AWS. Okay. Here in the .m2 folder, we have this all those things in .m2 folder. We have all dependencies will be in this repository. All dependencies will be downloaded. Then next time it won't download. Here all dependencies will be there. The next time it will download from the central repository. One time it will once we are downloaded, that will be stored in that one .m2 folder. Okay. This is all stored in .m2 folder. Okay. Now we can go to our. Is it clear now? That one?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Next stage. Here only we do as of now only compile. For example, if you are do install, what will happen? We will see if you do install maven install. That are the maven commands. First, maven compile is just compile the code. Now we have installed the maven clean install. So just if I mention only clean, what will happen then if you are not mention the clean, then what will happen? We'll see. First, we will mention only mvn install. Then save it. Build now. So console output, okay, check the console output.
What did you change this time when you ran it on the 6th?
Instead of mvn compile, then I have mentioned mvn install. So if your mvn install, then automatically this jar will be generated. This jar will have this all our application code. So if you observe here, this stage, mvn install stage, the scanning the project and some problems are continuing. Okay, here it will compile the actual it download from the central repository, whatever the again some plugins and anything is required, it will download it. Then after that again it compile the code. Actually compilation is happen. After that yeah, downloaded and compile. Then here if you observe here in install this version, what version we are getting is, for example, if you down come back here, 3.4.0 snapshot 6. Okay, you are getting like 3.4.0 snapshot 6 and my yeah. Then why you are getting like this means just you can go to the pom.xml. In pom.xml we are mentioned here 3.4.0 snapshot build number. So build number is which number, which job you are running, 6th job. That's why you'll get the 6. Now we are running 6th job. That's why we are getting like a 6. But instead of I change the only here, if you observe 3.4.0 something, this where we have in our pom.xml, this is a pom.xml we are using. So if you are observe here, this build number here 3.4. Yeah, 3.4.0 snapshot. Here, this is the dynamically getting value $build underscore number. If I am removing this one, only 3.4.0 snapshot I am getting. So for example, I will remove this one. Okay, I will commit the code again. Now we can again build now again. Here instead of this 3.4.0 snapshot -6, it will come a different thing. Just you can. Now also I will come again build the MVN install. MVN install means our jar will be generated. Our package compilation happened. The package will be downloaded. If you observe this time, it doesn't take much time. It will complete it within the very few seconds. Why? Because once if you compile this code and everything is the next time onwards, the no need, it doesn't do all those things. Okay, why? Because all those things are be shared in the .m2 folder. So if you observe here, here our jar also downloaded into the .m2 folder or whatever the jar. Previously, we'll get like 3.4.0 snapshot -6 like that we'll get it. But we didn't get now actually. If you observe, is where we have stored this jar is just it will be stored into the .m2 folder where libjenkins .m2. There we have our jar will be available. -mh. This jar will is nothing but once its code will compile, again it will package this jar. So this jar we need to use it. -jar. Is there any doubt in this?
No, I am not able to follow what exactly.
Yeah.
So this will be like application specific, right? But why are we referring it as an
Yeah, it is application specific only, but we are as a, for example, developers. Yeah, we need to check whenever we build the what kind of, usually depends upon how we are taking care about this. Once we have set up this pipeline, then they will take care, they will build, they will change this code and all those things. But we have to know, for example, in artifact ID, if you are mentioned here artifact ID, com.my MyCom app, and this is the project name. Here the version name. Usually, whenever the new code will come, automatically this version, this job will be this artifact, whatever artifact. Why you are using this one? Na? So while building the Docker image, you have to take this jar in our Docker file. So that's why we have to referring this one. So whenever you are changing this one, the other version will come. For example, whatever the code will be there here, so that's fine. After 5 days or something like that, some code will be changed. Code will be changed means in src files or something, the developers will change the code. After that, again we build the our code, means compile the code and everything. Then why you are compiling code means if you want to deploy any server and all, we need to compile this code and build the jar. Okay, so we are build the jar. Then every time, whenever the code changes, the new version need to come, like snapshot version, new version will come. So that's why I have mentioned here also in -6 or something like that. Why? Because 3.4 snapshot. Every time now, if you have build the jar, after some changes in code, again if you are building the same 3.4 snapshot jar, it doesn't make sense. Means same version. So until the code every time if you are build the new, then we need to get the new version. Okay, that here automatically we'll get the 3.4.0. So what is your doubt then in this? Why you are referring these all those things, are you asking?
I actually wanted to know. So this is the generic. So we are this Maven when we see it, which is a part of a pipeline, right?
Mm, mm.
And when we say code, any future changes will be incorporated here. Is that right?
Yeah, presently, for example, yeah, whenever we are building based on this pom.xml, I'm trying to it is build like whatever we are mentioning in pom.xml, whatever the version we are mentioning, it will come. For example, here if you are mentioned pom.xml
Yeah.
3.4 dot in line number 9, 3.4.0 hyphen snapshot, then that version will build. Okay, here 3.4.g1 means it will come from the pom.xml I am trying to say. So here, for example, mhr-app, this where it will come from the pom.xml only, mhr-app, mhr-app, okay, is artifact line number 8. So whenever you build this jar, this version will come from the like mhr-app, this one and this all those things come from the pom.xml that I am trying to say. So here if you are do workspace, whenever you are build the compile, here you will get the one more workspace will get it. In workspace we have target folder is there. Okay.
Yeah.
Here varlib workspace in simple Maven pipeline. Here we have a target. Okay. In this target, we have all this jar will be available here. If you observe, two jars are available. If you observe here, jar and iPhone 6 jar and two jars are available. Why two jars are available means just if you are not clean, MVN clean install means it will target folder will delete the newly created the target folder only whenever you build the jar, only that jar will only available. For example, now if you are generate again next time also, then we will get the same 3.4 snapshot hyphen jar only coming. But that is the okay. Again, I will try to build again. Then we will see. I am not mention MVN clean install. If I do MVN clean install, what happen? I will tell you. Now only MVN install again. So MVN install means again same will generated same 3 dot. Then we can go to again workspace. That jar is important. Important means why you are using that jar again. I will tell you. Then comes to workspace. Target. Yeah, here again 2.39. Now it is actually overridden with a new jar. So every time if a version is not mentioned dynamically changing, it will usually changing the same version. But it should not like that. Whenever we are building the uh, job, then we should have the separate version, snapshot version, iPhone 5 or 6 like that we need to get. That's why dynamically I will mention here. Build number. So then whenever you are building this new one, it will come the new version. So, but here even two times if you build the same 3.4 snapshot jar will come, but it should not come like that. Okay. We need to get like 3.4 snapshot iPhone 4 or 5 like that we need to get. So that's why I'm going to here again I will change the iPhone build number. So how do you know what we have done in the previously if you want to know? So for example, if you go to pom.xml, previously we built this one. We mentioned this one. That's why I'm taking this one again. Yeah, now I will commit again. Now I build again. Yeah, this time we will get like iPhone 9. Okay. iPhone 9, why are getting? We are running the present 9th job. That's why we will get the 9. So workspace. If I go to target, we will get like 3.4.snapshot iPhone 6 and the 3.4.snapshot 5 iPhone 9, like that we will get it. But here MVN clean install means the workspace doesn't, this target folder is not deleted. Whenever you are running this so many times, the jars will be available, but it is not good practice. So every time whenever you are build the new job, then we need to delete this target folder. We need to freshly install that our jar, whatever the new jar we are generated, that we need to do. So now if you observe, 3 jars are there. Now what I need to do is simply I will do MVN clean. What will happen? Then one MVN clean install, what will happen? We will see. So for example, I will do here MVN install previously. Now I will do only MVN clean. So see what will happen, MVN clean. Yeah, if you are not following, ask questions, then I will explain it.
I'm trying to progress how this.
Yeah. So
Little
okay.
bit confused, yeah, but I can try.
Yeah. Why we here Maven, we have some goals are there. Okay, like Maven clean or Maven install, like that. So now what we'll do is the previously MVN install command that will compile the total code. It will store in the workspace. Okay, whatever we have mentioned in the palm.xml. In this palm.xml, what will happen is just it will take this src code, whatever the Java code is there. In Java, we have a multiple files are there. This all .java files. In our case, we have only one file. For example, if you have 100 files on this, all we need to compile it. So compile and we need to build one jar. Okay, jar or var. So that will happen with help of the Maven goals. So we have previously mentioned MVN install command. That install, what will happen is it will take this all code, whatever there in our GitHub repository in SRC folder. It will take the code and it will build the jar. So that jar number is jar and artifact jar number is coming with help of these values, 7, 8 line number, these values it will come. So in this project and this version, whatever we are mentioned, with this number, it will generate the jar. So that we have seen previously here. So now we can not build. If you observe here, previous job, in this job, it will compile and it will do the total package. Means this, what is this jar means? Total our Java code will be in the form of the like a zip file, if you are understanding the better.
Yeah.
Zip file is nothing but a group of files. We are called it a single file. So here this jar is nothing but Java archive files. Means our all compiled code, everything will be there in this jar. Okay. So this jar, if you are deploying any server, means either jar or what, if you are deploying any server, then our application will come. So that is the main. This jar is important. Okay, this jar version will become based on this. In palm.xml, you have mentioned a version name and all. So, for example, if you go to here, artifact ID and version 3.4, it will come here. If you observe here, MHR app, then 3.4.0 snapshot 9. So like this, it will come. This jar we need to deploy into the servers, or we need to copy into the Docker file. I will tell you where we need to copy this one. Okay. So what I'm trying to say here is, if I do MVN install, it will compile the total source code, whatever the source code we are downloaded from the GitHub. Here in our case, we have downloaded from this GitHub repository, Maven, Docker, MVN. Maybe in real time, they have each code in their its own repository. So it will download the code from that repository. After that, compile will happen. So here this MVL install will do two functionalities. One is compile the code, and after that it will build the one file, means one jar file it will build. Okay, clear?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about S? Okay. Now, instead of I am previously mentioned MVN install, so it will it will compile the code and it will generate this jar, and it will store .m2 folder. So .m2 folder it will store usually that jar. So now I will do MVN instead of MVN install. Just I kept only MVN clean. Then I run the job again. What I am trying to say is, again, what Maven goal is, for example, MVN clean, what will do, and MVN install, what will do. So MVN deploy, what will do. I am telling in interviews are asking, for example, if they are asking like Maven related, what is the difference between MVN clean and MVN install, and what is the difference between MVN install and MVN deploy and all. If you go here, we don't get any jar here. If you observe here, you don't get
Yeah.
any jar here. This jar is like only dependency jar, but we are not getting any jar. Just only MVN clean will happen. What this MVN clean will do is, for example, go to workspace. You can also try in your hand. Just you can
Yeah,
do.
I did.
Here we don't have any target folder. Is it
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We don't have any target folder. Why, sir? We don't have any target folder means this MVN clean will means it will clean the total workspace. It clean the total target folder. It doesn't. So MVN clean install means first it will delete the all target folder. So then after that, whatever the requirement, it will create the new target folder and install our Maven and all. So now I will do two things. That's why better to first clean the workspace. Then we need to install. For example, if you're not clean the workspace, maybe some catchy files are there, maybe previously compiled files are there, then better to clean the workspace. Means MVN clean install is better command to build the any jar and all. So now that's why I will do here the MVN clean install. This clean and install, so much value is there, and each install it's look like install, but unfortunately, for example, if you're not mention only MVN install, then it doesn't clean and it will not do properly. That's why MVN clean, this goals is very important. MVN clean or MVN install, what is the purpose? If you're especially working in Java projects, if you want to do something around in this. Now I will go and build. Yeah. Now it will like MHR 3.4 snapshot 11. It will come. Yeah. Now we can go to the workspace again. Now, if you previously we don't have a target folder, now we will get the target folder. When we will get target folder, when we will not get the target folder means if you are installing means it will create the target folder. Means installing means or whatever it will compile the code. Install means it has so many things. Clean means only clean the workspace. There is nothing. But install means it will compile the code and it will do all those things. So if you go to the target folder, we have only jar is there.
Yeah.
If I nest again, if I run the same thing, again it will delete the target folder. It will only we will get only 12.jar. These all those things again we are created. This target folder freshly created and it will install. So, but dependencies will take from the .m2 folder only. If previously I have seen where lib Jenkins, we have .m2 folder. So usually interview, it is very important question they're asking. What is the local directory, local repository in Jenkins? What is the local repository? For example, whenever you are run the build commands, then it will install the jar file. It will store the our jar file into the local repository. What is the local repository? Is .m2 folder is a local repository. So there we have all these jars whenever you are build the stuff. Okay. Now I will again run it. Still now again next time 12 will come it. Okay. 12 will come. Okay, you can go and build now. Only 12 will come. Why? Because this previously all clean the workspace. It deleted and it will only create the 12. Okay, we'll go to the workspace. If you target, if you observe here, previously we have 11. Now we have a 12. So before, if you are not installing clean, what will happen? If I am running again, it will come here the 13.jar. If you are coming again, we are running, then we are getting the 14.jar. So that is the problem if you are not cleaning the workspace. Why? Because this jar we need to use in our Docker file. That's why whenever if you not cleaning one, here it will have multiple jars, then that is the problem. Why it is problem, I will tell you later in our Docker file. Yeah. So as of now, if you have any doubt, then you can ask. Yeah, if you're not understanding, if you have any doubt, then you can ask, I will tell you.
So far for me, nothing but that clean one I want to know once again. Like you said that it will be creating like multiple jars, right? So we need to clean it all the time, or I didn't
Yeah,
get
yeah.
that
In
part.
command, we need to, for example, if you are not mentioned the clean command, clean install. For example, now we have install.
Okay,
If you are not
we need
mentioned the
to.
clean, then for example, if I am mentioned only install, what will happen? We will check it again. For example, now I will not mention any clean now. For example, only install. What will happen? Again, simply it will install new repository, new jar, but still old jars are still there.
Yeah.
So I will remove that clean again. It will be like this time 13 also there. Previous 12 will also available in the same target folder.
Okay.
Go to workspace. It doesn't remove the target folder. If you observe here,
Yeah.
12.jar
Okay.
and 13.jar. So if you are not mentioned the clean, it doesn't remove the target folder and it will pile up the old versions also. If I am running 10 times, then what will happen in target folder? 10 jars will be available.
Yeah.
But it's not why sometimes if you are not remove this one, some files may be catching or maybe jar is not building properly. So sometimes happen. That's why better to clean the workspace. In Docker file also, we'll mention star jar. For example, if you are in our Docker file, why that Maven is also clean is important. For example, if you go to Docker file, what we are mentioned here, copy target / star jar, star.jar. What this mean is line number second, target / star.jar. What this one is target star.jar means whatever the files are there with the .jar in the target folder, everything need to copy in this one. But usually if you have multiple jars, then that is the problem. Every time you should have only one jar only. Okay.
Okay.
That jar should replace this name. Star.jar we are mentioned. Why you are mentioned star.jar means now we are building, if I am building, maybe I have some 8 dot something I am getting. That 8 dot something, it should replace this name. For example, if you have multiple jars, 2 or 3 jars are there, as you mentioned here, like 2 jars, then it will copy the 2 jars. Which one it will take it as a app.jar? Are you getting my point? For example, in target, if you have a 1 jar, then that jar will become a copied like as a app.jar, means replaced with app.jar. For example, I have a 11 dot jar and 12 dot jar, then it will try to copy the 2 jars, but each one it will take it as this name. So that's why actually if you are clean, every time you have only 1 jar is there, that jar will come like this. Okay.
Okay.
This is actually which we have used real time in previous project. Previous project end-to-end we do. At that time, this palm.xml, how this Maven file, how we can take this one. This one also in interview point of view also. If you want to write in any Docker file for Java application, we have to write like this.
Okay.
If you have mentioned, if you are not clean the target workspace, if you pile up the 3 or 4 like this 12.jar, 13.jar, 14.jar, what we are mentioned target star.jar means what? Star.jar means whatever the files ended with a jar, that all we need to mention. So why sir star.jar? Every time just you can mention one file. Na? We don't know what number it will come, like a 20.jar, 30.jar. We don't know. Na? Every time you are not changing this Docker file. Only one time activity we need to write one. If I mention star.jar means if I clean the every time, then what will every time you have only one jar, na? There is a no issues.
Yeah.
Are you getting my point?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Ash, are you getting?
Yeah, I'm getting.
I think so. Your voice is not that much. Okay.
No,
Yeah, I
I
got it.
actually
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
if you are cleaning this one, if you are mentioning clean, then only this target folder, whatever we have 12, 13, 14, every time this target folder will delete, the new target folder will created. If you are mentioned
Yeah.
clean, if you are not mentioned clean, only if you are mentioned install, it doesn't delete this target folder. Every time this new jar will generated in the same target workspace.
Yeah.
But if not deleting this target folder, then that will be some problem for us. Just our requirement doesn't fulfill. That's why and better also we need to run the clean and install. Okay. Now some here we are not using here deploy command, but usually MVN sometimes we need to mention here MVN clean install or clean deploy also. So clean deploy if I mention, our job will work, but this deploy will add our jar is also moving to the Nexus repository. In our case, we don't have a Nexus repository, but nowadays it's not also required. But if you use here maybe jar or var it is developed, then maybe now in our case we are getting only jar, but it is the var. Sometimes some companies they are moving that jar into the Nexus repository or whatever JFrog they need to move. So that's why they need to mention that deploy. For example, I will show you. We have built here one jar or var. In our case, it is the like a jar. Okay, for example, it is the var or jar or var, whatever it is. So it will be downloaded into the .m2 folder. Okay, whatever the jar we are generated, it will be downloaded into the M2. Install means it will place in here. So it is install. For example, if you are mentioned deploy, it will be there in the .m2 folder, whatever we are generating, maybe 20.jar, 30.jar. After .m2 folder, again that jar will go to the Nexus or JFrog. Nexus or JFrog is the one place where we can store our jar or vars. JFrog. Okay. Here, if you are mention only deploy, it will install the jar and all. It will download it into the .m2 folder. After that, it will move into the our Nexus or JFrog. If I do the deploy command, only install if I mention, it will build the jar and it will only store into the .m2 folder. This is the local repository. So, are you getting what is the difference between this MVN clean and MVN install? This is the deploy. It will happen deploy. When you are mentioning MVN clean deploy, it
Yeah.
will generate the jar like 20.jar, 30.jar, whatever you are mentioned. It will generate, it will store in the .m2 folder. Wherever I have shown you in .m2 folder, it will download it here. After that, that file again copying into the Nexus or JFrog. The Nexus or JFrog is like one repository, means we can able to install one server in Nexus and JFrog. Then there we can able to see UI, then our jars are coming or not, or like that. Again, from this place, we need to deploy into the our servers. But why I am not telling means nowadays no one will moving into the Nexus directly. They are copying into the building the Docker images. Docker images they will store. So this part is not required actually. So why? Because we are not copying our code into the servers. We are copying our code into the containers. At that time, this part is not required actually. Okay. This part. So I am not mentioning the, but in interview all compulsory it is asking what is the difference between MVN clean and deploy, install and deploy. Install means only the jar generated, it will be there in the .m2 folders. Deploy means it will there in M2, again it will copy into the Nexus folder also. What is the Nexus and JFrog folder means? So that is the one software where we can keep our all repositories if you want. So I think so. I'm mainly whatever the Maven related commands, the clean, install, deploy, that are the three main importance and compile that I said clearly. Just if you have, then JFrog or Nexus, if you observe Nexus. Nexus is a Artifactory. So here, if you observe Nexus images or something. Yeah. Like that, our jars will be downloaded. We can able to view like this Nexus. So in this, our jars will be downloaded, copied into this particular part. This Nexus is another type of tool. We can store our it will install in any server and all. Then again, we need to integrate this Nexus to our Jenkins. Then we can able to copy our jar files into this particular place. But in our case, we are not using Nexus to copy our jar into this particular place. This when it will copy into this Nexus Sonar job, then if you are mentioning MVN clean deploy, then it will copy into this. How it will copy this into the, again, we need to mention in pom.xml. We are not mentioned here. In pom.xml, we can able to mention it here. In pom.xml, in last, we have a distribution section is there. There we need to mention our Nexus Nexus details. Like these details we need to mention in pom.xml. Then automatically, whenever you are clean install or clean deploy means our jar will be copied into this particular Sonar type. So theoretically, are you getting this particular point?
Yeah.
Yes, are you getting?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I actually, I am planning to actually go through your previous videos.
Yeah. So
Getting
yeah,
the
actually I was
details.
busy with the last few days. Then that's why I don't get a chance to copy. Maybe today I will copy this one and that one also both.
Yeah, I think last two I will be uh, I need to go through the last two
Yeah.
class sessions, and I think then I'll be able to make some follow here, because yeah, it is.
Yes, yes. Okay, now today class is more of like what is the Maven clean and Maven install, what is the purpose of the these all those things. Even if I mention Maven clean deploy also, our job will success, but we are not able to copy this jar into the Nexus folder or Nexus repo. Why? Because we don't have a Nexus repo.
So Nexus is something which is
Yeah.
just like a
Yeah.
JFrog.
Nexus is something like a one software we can install in our any Kubernetes or any server. There we can able to store our files. Maybe yeah, deploy is not happen. So it will try to deploy. It will try to deploy. That's why it giving error. So yeah. Yeah, Nexus is something like it's one kind of software how you can install the Docker and how you install the Maven. Similar kind of software. It has a UI. Then if you can install in any particular server in Nexus, we can able to install it. But there we can store our jars and vars. Okay. If you are using the Docker and all, the Nexus will not come into the picture. Okay. If you are using the old legacy application, if you are building the only vars, then that you are copying into the server. At that time, Nexus is required. So only if you are moving this jar into the our Docker file, then it's not required Nexus. So we'll continuation we'll do tomorrow again this pipeline, how we can build the Docker images and all. So we'll go through it. Then if you if you are free, then I will take same time tomorrow. If you have some works, then
Yeah.
I will take.
Yep. Yeah, at least if, I'm actually missing out on these
Mm.
the last Maven from before the class, which where you started mention about the pipeline. That I
Yeah.
missed, and then after that Maven I have to go through, and then this one. So give me
Okay.
tomorrow's time, okay? If we can have a off tomorrow, and then I'll try to go through all these.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Sure. Sure.
And if you can share the videos, that will definitely help be helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Sure. I will share it. Yes.